and achieving a just and lasting peace. Let's get more on this and talk to James Dorsey. He's an honorary fellow at the National University of Singapore's Middle East Institute. He joins us live from Singapore. James, so the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman told the Palestinian president that Riyadh stands by the Palestinians and their legitimate rights. How significant is that statement, and why is Saudi Arabia saying this now?
Well, it's significant, but let's keep in mind that this was a conversation between two people who don't have a great deal of leverage in or ability to bring an end to the conflict. I think the Saudi concerns are multiple. They want an end to the conflict. They don't want to see an expansion of the conflict and this becoming a regional war. They want to be seen to be defending Palestinian rights, as they, at the same time, even if that's become more complicated, negotiate a deal that would involve Saudi recognition of Israel. So this, in that sense, in a symbolic sense, this conversation is significant.
So let's just stay with the issue of normalization, James, for a second, because as part of the Abraham Accords, the US, I guess, is hoping that Saudi Arabia will eventually join the accord, but that hasn't happened. So are the accords now effectively frozen, given this Gaza war and the difficulties that other Arab states have in dealing with an extreme Israeli right-wing government?
Well, obviously, the focus right now is to get the guns to fall silent. I don't think that the issue of Saudi recognition of Israel is frozen. I think it's become more complicated by two countervailing factors. One is the Saudis more than ever need to be seen to achieving a viable pathway to a solution of the Palestinian conflict as part of a deal with Israel. But at the same time, public opinion in Israel is hardened because of what has happened in recent days. And it's going to take time for the political fallout, particularly within Israel, to play out before a real deal, which involves real concessions on the part of the Israelis towards the Palestinians, becomes possible.
It's an interesting point, James, you make about the issue of public opinion, because the Palestinian death toll stands close to something like 700. That number is going to rise significantly if and when Israel carries out a ground invasion of Gaza. But how will Arab populations in countries like the UAE, like Bahrain, that have normalized ties with Israel, feel when Palestinian civilians, Arabs, are being killed in their hundreds by the Israeli army?
First of all, I think that obviously this is going to reinforce a rejection of relations with Israel in the Arab world and maybe even in the Muslim world, as long as there is not a real viable pathway to a resolution of the Palestinian conflict. But on the other hand, Hamas has not done itself any favors, in the sense that instead of targeting Israeli military targets in its offensive on Saturday, this turned out to be a mass slaughter of civilians. And you are hearing a considerable number of voices in the Arab world, particularly on social media, that are objecting to that and taking distance from Hamas.
Just a final thought to you, James. So what about then other key regional players like Turkey, Iran, even Lebanon? I mean, what's their calculus in all of this?
Well, first of all, I think there's a differentiation which is interesting between how Turkey has responded and how Arab states have responded. Arab states have put the blame firmly on Israel, whereas the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has said, I want to mediate. In the attempt to try and get the guns to fall silent, there really are only a few players. The United States, because it has leverage over Israel, and the hope is that as the images from Gaza become ever more distressing, there will be pressure on Israel to restrain itself. And on the other hand, countries like Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt are countries that do have some relationship with Hamas, and therefore they are the countries that can talk to both sides.
James Dorsey, really do get your thoughts and your analysis here. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us. All right, let's take you to southern Israel.